Thank you, Dionisio and the heretics. Good morning, and welcome to the Greenville Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. My name is Debbie Plunkey, and I serve this congregation as the co-chair of the Hospitality Committee. Whether you have been with us on Sundays for a long time or are visiting us for the first time today, we welcome you to our service. This congregation is diverse in beliefs with participation open to all who agree to embrace our covenant, mission, and values, regardless of your partisanship or lack thereof. We are a welcoming congregation to people of all sexual orientations and gender identities, races, ethnicities, and abilities. We unconditionally welcome you as your full, authentic self to our community of care, spiritual growth, and personal growth. Our congregational mission is to strengthen our connections to one another and to our planet by enlivening minds and spirits, building community through liberating love, and advocating fiercely for justice. It is a custom in this congregation to acknowledge visitors and newcomers. If it's your first time here, would you mind raising your hand so that we can acknowledge you? Welcome. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. All are invited to join us for coffee after the service. New and newish folks are invited to grab a green mug located just inside the door of the fellowship hall, so we can easily spot you and speak to you during coffee hour. You're also welcome to fill out one of the gold cards located in the pews in front of you so that you can stay informed regarding all our activities. Simply drop the card in the offering basket or in the box at the hello table in the foyer. For a list of what's going on today after the service, please check out the list on the back of your order of service. There you will find a QR code that links you to our recent e-news editions. Please know that whatever your religious history, whatever your spirituality, all people of goodwill are welcome here. Your presence makes us better. Your presence makes us whole. Our service will now begin.
Good morning, everybody. I am the worship associate this morning. My name is Jackie Weddington. I do not have my badge or name tag on because in my house I have 84 years worth of clutter and I couldn't find it. I'm terribly sorry. So, we're going to light our chalice, which is a very important part of our service. Today, across our nation, Unitarian Universalists will be lighting their chalices. As troublesome and as dark as these days seem to so many of us, we light our chalice, creating the flame that calls us to demand justice, to speak truth to power, to practice love, and to call for a living peace where all human rights and dignity are given. May we become co-creators of the future where the light of our chalice shines on all. Tomorrow, when we celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King's Day, let us also remember the Unitarians Viola Liuzzo and Reverend James Reeb, who, among others, were called to sacrifice their all for justice.
Yeah, hello? Yep. Hey, Jerry, what's happening?
I'll tell you what's going on. Mother, mother, there's too many of you crying.
Brother, 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 there's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Father, Father, we don't need to escalate.
War is not the answer, for only love can conquer hate.
You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Picket lines
Sister,
and picket signs
sister,
don't punish me with brutality.
sister,
Talk to me
sister.
so you can see, oh, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
Mother, mother, everybody thinks we're wrong.
Oh, but who are they to judge us simply 'cause our hair is long? You
No,
we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today.
Picket lines
Brother,
and picket signs
brother,
don't punish me
brother,
with brutality.
brother,
Talk to me
brother.
so you can see what's going on.
What's going on?
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 Well, good morning, Goof. I'm the Reverend Chris Hockman, so wonderful to see you this morning, and wow, do I have some backup today. Our call to worship this morning are the truly meaningful and prophetic words of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied to a single garment of destiny. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. There are some things in our social system to which all of us ought to be maladjusted. Hatred and bitterness can never cure the disease of fear. Only love can do that. We must evolve. For all human conflict, a method which rejects revenge, aggression, and retaliation. The foundation of such a method is love. Before it is too late, we must narrow the gaping chasm between our proclamations of peace and our lowly deeds which precipitate and perpetuate war. One day, we must come to see that peace is not merely a distant goal that we seek, but a means by which we arrive at that goal. We must pursue peaceful ends through peaceful means. We shall hew out of a mountain of despair a stone of hope. Amen to that. Please rise in body or spirit and let us sing.
Good morning. I'm David Funderburk. I'm the Director of Religious Education here at GOOF. And I want to draw your attention to a leaflet that's in your order of service today. It gives you some information about our Passport Pals program, which creates intergenerational connections between some of our kids and some of the trusted adults in our congregation. So please read more about that. And it also has some information about how to RSVP for our next Friendly UU dinner on the fourth Wednesday of this month. So please take a look at that. I want to welcome any children or youth or really anyone of any age who'd like to see our story up close to come sit in the front pews or on the floor at the base of the steps. Welcome. Now, tomorrow is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Oh, yeah? You knew about that? You marked it on your calendar? That's very good. Now, he gave his life and worked hard to work towards a world where everyone can be treated equally, no matter what the color of their skin. Now, that begs the question, why are people treated differently based on the color of their skin? There are many answers people could give that question. One answer is that it's an unfortunate thing that sometimes when people get a lot of power, they like to take advantage of people that have less power than them. And if you convince the people with less power that they should fight amongst themselves because, oh, that person has a different color skin than you, or that person has a different way of believing than you, then it makes it easier to take advantage of people. So our story today talks a little bit more about why we, for some reason, are so divided on the color of skin. This is a book called Our Skin, A First Conversation About Race by Megan Madison, Jessica Raleigh, and Isabel Roxas. Now, I've got a whole series of these first conversation books downstairs in our RE library. So if you're a parent who needs a little help having a difficult conversation with your kid, let me know, because I might have a good resource for you. Our skin. We all have skin. It comes in different colors. What color is your skin? We see different skin colors at the playground, at the grocery store, and on TV. What skin colors do you see? Our friends have different skin tones. So do the people in our families. What about in your family? Our skin is beautiful, strong, and important, just the way it is. What do you love about your skin? We get our color from something smart inside our bodies called melanin that protects our skin from the sun. You have melanin too. We all do. Everybody has just the right amount for them. The darker your skin, the more melanin you have. The lighter your skin, the less melanin you have. Melanin makes our skin many beautiful shades from dark to light. What do you call your unique skin color? We may use color words to describe people, like black and white. Sometimes we say people of color to talk about all the groups of people who aren't white. Our world has so many different groups of people, so there are lots of words we use. What groups do you belong to? There's black, indigenous, Asian, white, Arab, Pacific Islander, African American, Latinx, biracial, and so many more. Also Indian. Skin color can't tell you much about what people are like, what they know, what foods they think are yummy, what their favorite books are, or even where they were born. Just by looking at someone, we can't tell who they are on the inside. But sometimes people try to anyway. A long time ago, way before you were born, a group of white people made up an idea called race. They sorted people by skin color and said that white people were better, smarter, prettier, and that they deserved more than everybody else. That isn't true or fair at all, but it's a story that has been told for a long time. When people believe this untrue story about race, that's called racism. Racism is also the things people do
and the unfair rules they make about race so that white people get more power and are treated better than everybody else. Racism happens in lots of big and small ways. It's all around us, even if we don't always notice it. Racism can be a rule, like if someone says only friends with white skin can play. Racism can be an idea, like thinking princesses only have blonde hair. Racism can be a way we've done things for a long time, like how there aren't as many books written about people of color. Racism can be on purpose, like calling a person of color a mean name because of their skin color. Racism can also be by mistake, like if the same friend always has to play the bad guy. Racism hurts and is always unfair. That's why it's important to talk about it and do our part to make things better. All the time, even right now, people are working for racial justice by telling the truth and sharing feelings, by treating people the way they want to be treated, by bravely saying, "That's not right," by marching in protest, by singing songs that bring us together, by changing unfair rules, by teaching, helping, learning, and listening. We can do it too. Thank you for listening. And if you'd like to join me in our RE classes today, please follow me out the back.
The purpose of any church is to encourage all who gather there to grow more generous in spirit and in action. This is the great end of all the world's faith traditions, to bring the human being closer to the divine by acts of creation and compassion. We will now take an offering that allows us to exercise that all-important generosity of spirit, an offering that will support this self-supporting fellowship and its many ministries. The gifts of the congregation will be most gratefully accepted. Thank you. It is our custom in our fellowship to share the joys and the sorrows that shape our lives, honoring each one with the lighting of a candle. We all have moments of celebration and struggle. By sharing these experiences with one another, we can support and uplift each other on our journeys. We have quite a few joys, and we have quite a few sorrows this morning. This first one is a joy, though, from Jane Murray. My sister's hip replacement surgery exceeded our expectations, and she was able to return home after only one night in the hospital. Please send healing vibes and good thoughts as this independent lady learns to depend on others for a little help while she recuperates. This is from B. Doyle. This is a joy. I am deeply grateful to the Buddhist monks and to Aloka, their peace dog, for bringing their walk for peace through our state. Their presence and their message of peace and mindfulness was met with love and respect, which gives me great hope. I pray their journey leaves a lasting imprint on the hearts they may have touched. In a time marked by tragedy and turmoil in so many parts of our country, their parallel walk for peace feels especially meaningful. May their message continue to ripple outward, offering calm, compassion, and courage. And may they be protected as they journey toward Washington, D.C. This is from Laura Christianberry, and this is a sorrow that many of us older folk here in the fellowship, and some of the younger older folk who knew Meg Barnhouse, for the light and love and laughter that was Meg Barnhouse. So blessed to have heard her preach from this very pulpit. She will be missed. And Laura also added the words from her song and the words from, I believe, Julian of Norwich. And all will be well, and all will be well, and all manner of things will be well. We'd like to light a candle for Ken Flanagan. He will be missed by so many here at Goof. We raised a glass for him at the restaurant dinner on restaurant dinner group Thursday night. Thank you so much, Laura, for putting that in there. Please continue to keep Charlie and Betsy Smith and Laura in your thoughts and prayers. They are going through a very rough time. A sorrow for the loss of a beloved fig tree that succumbed to the septic lines. Now we know why it produced so well. This is from Laura Morton, Building and Grounds. This is a candle of joy. I didn't have to dig and pour the new concrete ballards, thanks to Laurie Morton and Levi Stone and team. The narthex is no longer a drive-through entrance. Todd Couliard, Building Safety Team Chairman. We will also we will light a final candle representing all the joys and sorrows present in our hearts that remain unspoken. We will now observe a brief moment of silence before the meditation words begin.
Our meditation words today are a prayer from the Reverend Kathleen Rowlands. Spirit of justice, God who befriends those who stand upon the constant edges of decision, crucial and alone, we are grateful to be together this morning. We gather especially to remember Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but not only him, for there were thousands of unnamed people who put their bodies and lives on the line so that all may be free. And yet, freedom comes at a cost. And we know that racism and homophobia, ageism and ableism, sexism and classism, all of these often unacknowledged realities prevent us from fully knowing one another, from creating the beloved community spoken of by prophets and ordinary persons alike. May the work of Dr. King continue to eradicate injustice wherever and whenever we encounter it. May we continue to speak out against injustice, to speak even if we are afraid of our words. If we are afraid, our words will not be heard or welcomed. May the spirit of Dr. King continue to flow through our daily living. May we have the courage of Dr. King as we continue to stand up for justice, reconciliation, and truth, despite challenge and controversy. Dr. King went to the mountaintop. He saw the promised land, and he reassured us we will get there one day. May that be no paradisal dream, but a reality in our own time. May it be so. Amen.
Good morning again. So we're going to sing this song a little bit differently. Most of you are familiar with this song, and you know that it got its origins from enslaved African Americans singing, and then it became an anthem for the civil rights movement. And today it is really well known worldwide as a song of solidarity and freedom and a strive for better things. So what we will ask you to do today is the choir and I are going to sing the first 2 lines of each verse, and then in the chorus we would like for everyone to sing, but of course in UU fashion you can do whatever you'd like to do. Okay? Thank you. Okay. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in yourselves a big hand. Good job.
Let's also send that message of peace and hope for safety to our dear ones in Minneapolis, many of whom are UUs and are demonstrating on the front lines. Not to mention our kindred souls and human beings in Greenland and Venezuela. So, today I'm going to tell you about Martin Luther King Jr. through the lens of American writer James Baldwin, who also had some things to say 50 years ago that are more than relevant in this very moment. So the inspiration from this service comes from an article in Esquire magazine from 1972 that was republished in 2018. And the article was titled, "The Shot That Echoes Still." The article written by James Baldwin, which was from his book of essays titled No Name in the Street. First, I'm going to tell you about James Baldwin if you're not familiar with him. He was born in Harlem in 1924, the grandson of a slave. The oldest of 9 children, he grew up in poverty. About his childhood, he recalled, "I knew I was black, of course, but I also knew I was smart. I didn't know how I would use my mind, or even if I could, but that was the only thing I had to use." By the time he was 14, Baldwin was spending much of his time in libraries and had found his passion for writing. During the early part of his life, he followed in his stepfather's footsteps and became a preacher. Of those teen years, he recalled, "Those 3 years in the pulpit, I didn't realize it then. That is what turned me into a writer, really, dealing with all that anguish and that despair and that beauty." In his late teens, Baldwin moved to Greenwich Village, where he worked for several years as a freelance writer, working primarily on book reviews. He caught the attention of a well-known novelist who helped him secure a grant that allowed him to support himself as a writer. And in 1948, at the age of 24, Baldwin left for Paris, where he hoped to find enough distance from the American society he grew up in to write about it. In Europe, Baldwin finished his first novel, Go Tell It on the Mountain, published in 1953. It was an autobiographical work about growing up in Harlem. The passion and depth with which he described the struggles of Black Americans were unlike anything that had been written before. Over the next 10 years, James Baldwin moved from Paris to New York to Istanbul, writing 2 books of essays and 2 novels. The essays explored racial tension with eloquence and unprecedented honesty. The novels dealt with the then taboo themes of homosexuality and interracial relationships. By describing life as he knew it, Baldwin became a best-selling author. But in the early 1960s, overwhelmed by a sense of responsibility to the times, James Baldwin returned to the U.S. to take part in the civil rights movement. Traveling throughout the South, he wrote an explosive work about Black identity and the state of racial struggle called The Fire Next Time, published in 1963. This, too, was a bestseller, so provocative that it put Baldwin on the cover of Time magazine. For many, Baldwin's call for human equality in his essays became an early and essential voice in the civil rights movement. Though at times criticized for his pacifist stance, Baldwin remained an important figure in that struggle throughout the 1960s. After the assassinations of his friends Medgar Evers, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and Malcolm X, Baldwin returned to France, where he worked on a book about the disillusionment of the times called If Beale Street Could Talk, published in 1974. The book was accused of being harsh and bitter, but still Baldwin always remained a constant advocate for universal love and unity. During the last 10 years of his life, he wrote additional important works of fiction, nonfiction, and poetry. By 1987, when he died of stomach cancer at the age of 63, James Baldwin had become one of America's most important and vocal advocates for equality. That's the end of the biography. So Baldwin's essay that I'm talking about today, that was written after the death, a few years after the death of Martin Luther King Jr., and explains his feelings in its aftermath, begins with these words. He wrote, "Since Martin's death in Memphis and that tremendous day in Atlanta," where he's talking about going to Dr. King's memorial service, he wrote, "Something has altered in me. Something has gone awry. Perhaps even more than the death itself, the manner of his death has forced me into a judgment concerning human life and human beings which I have always been reluctant to make." That's the end quote. He's saying that his belief in the goodness of humanity was severely shaken. He writes about where he was and what he was doing when he heard about the assassination of Dr. King. He was actually in Hollywood working on a screen adaptation of the biography of Malcolm X, a project he would eventually pull out of because of disagreements with studio executives. Now, he doesn't recall much about that day he found out about the assassination, other than feeling helpless with rage and sorrow. Still reeling, he traveled alone to Atlanta for King's memorial service. He squeezed through crowds of people in the streets toward Ebenezer Baptist Church, determined to get inside, finally getting close enough where he was recognized as a friend of Dr. King and helped on to the church steps so he could attend the service. Baldwin describes a surreal scene of celebrities, the feeling of incredible tension as if the world would crack, saying, "Everyone sat very still. The actual service sort of washed over me in waves. It wasn't that it seemed unreal. It was the most real church service I ever sat through in my life or ever hope to sit through." The mourners exited the service to view a sea of people all along the road on the rooftops. Baldwin writes, "Every inch of ground was black with black people, and they stood in silence. It was the silence that undid me. I started to cry, and I stumbled." After the story of the memorial, Baldwin comes to the heart of the matter regarding the losses of the great civil rights leaders and what this means and says about our country, writing, "I don't think that any Black person can speak of Malcolm and Martin without wishing that they were here. It is not possible for me to speak of them without a sense of loss and grief and rage, and with the sense, furthermore, of having been forced to undergo an unforgivable indignity, both personal and vast. Our children need them, which is indeed the reason that they are not here. And now we, the Blacks, must make certain that our children never forget them. For the American Republic has always done everything in its power to destroy our children's heroes, with the clear and sometimes clearly stated intention of destroying our children's hope. This endeavor has doomed the American nation. Mark my words." Malcolm and Martin, continuing his quote, beginning at what seemed to be very different points and espousing or representing very different philosophies, found that their common situation so thoroughly devastated what had seemed to be mutually exclusive points of view that by the time each met his death, there was practically no difference between them. Before either had time to think their new positions through, or indeed to do more than articulate them, they were murdered. Of the two, Malcolm moved swiftest and was dead soonest, but the fates of both men were radically altered, I would say frankly sealed, the moment they attempted to release the Black American struggle from the domestic context and relate it to the struggles of the poor and the non-white all over the world. What he's saying? They were in the greatest danger when the movement moved from the Black American struggle to the poor and non-white all over the world. So Baldwin witnessed this coalescing of Dr. King and Malcolm X around poverty and oppression everywhere. And it is the danger of building such a large coalition that he says, this coalition outside the conventional world power structures that have made them more urgent targets for assassination. Now, nowadays, it does appear that Malcolm was the victim of a power struggle within his own movement, a movement that he as an individual had greatly overshadowed, and in many ways would say even outgrown. And Dr. King, having victories with civil rights and voting rights, and surviving both of those battles, only to be lost to assassination after he had focused his sights on the universality of poverty. It gives one pause, doesn't it? We see the echoes of this coalescing around poverty today. We see it in the Reverend William Barber's Poor People's Campaign. Its goal being to confront the interlocking evils of systemic racism, poverty, ecological devastation, militarism, and the war economy, and the distorted moral narrative of religious nationalism. Understanding that as a nation, more than ever, we need a movement that will shift the moral narrative. The moral narrative in our country has been hijacked, by the way, if you haven't noticed, right? Shift the moral narrative, impact policies and elections at every level of government, and build lasting power for poor and other impacted people. That's the mission of the Poor People's Campaign. This is the kind of transformation, if successful, Baldwin was talking about 50-odd years ago. On how our systems perpetuate divisions between poor people, Baldwin wrote, "Slaveholders do not allow their slaves to compare notes. American slavery until this hour prevents any meaningful dialogue between the poor white and the black in order to prevent the poor white from recognizing that he too is a slave. The contempt with which American leaders treat American blacks is very obvious. What is not so obvious is that they treat the bulk of the American people with the very same contempt." It's James Baldwin, 50 years ago. But he continues, "But it will be sub-zero weather in a very distant August when the American people find the guts to recognize this fact. They will recognize it only when they have exhausted every conceivable means of avoiding it." That's the end quote. Wow, there's something about that. They treat the bulk of the American people with the very same contempt. So, as we can't but help look at Baldwin's words through the more current lens of escalating income inequality, unequal access to healthcare, education, and the list goes on and on and on, Baldwin's words are not really only relevant, but disarmingly prophetic. He wrote, "It is unlikely that any Western people, and certainly not the Americans, have the moral resources needed to accomplish the deep and mighty transformation which is all that can save them." He continues, "Such a transformation involves unimaginable damage to the American ego, would reduce all the American religious ceremonies, including the 4th of July and Thanksgiving, to the hypocritically bloody observances many of us have always known them to be, and would shed too unsparing a light on the actual dimensions and objectives of the American character. White Americans do not want to know what many non-whites know too well, for example, that foreign aid in the underdeveloped countries and anti-poverty programs in the ghetto are simply a slightly more sophisticated version of the British policy of divide and rule. Are, in short, simply another means of keeping a people in subjection." He continued, "Since the American people cannot, even if they wish to, bring about black liberation, and since black people want their children to live, it is very clear that we must take our children out of the hands of this so-called majority and find some way to expose this majority as the minority which it actually is in the world. For this, we will need and we will get the help of the suffering world, which is prevented only by the labyrinthine stratagems of power, from adding its testimony to ours. No one pretends this will be easy, and I myself do not expect to live to see this day accomplished. What both Martin and Malcolm began to see was that the nature of the American hoax had to be revealed, not only to save Black people, but in order to change the world in which everyone, after all, has a right to live. That's the end quote. He's asking us to hold up a mirror. Baldwin ends his article by invoking the ancestors, saying, "White people have only to consider the Black people, my ancestors, whose strength and love have brought Black people to this present crucial place. If I still thought, as I did when Martin and Malcolm were still alive, that the generality of white Americans were able to hear and to learn and begin to change, I would counsel them as vividly as I could to attempt now to minimize the bill which is absolutely certain to be presented to their children. I would say, if those Blacks, your slaves, my ancestors, could bring us out of nothing from such a long way off, then if I were you, I would pause a long while before deciding to use what you think of as your power. For we, the Blacks, have not found possible what you find necessary. We have not denied our ancestors who trust us now to redeem their pain." It's the end quote. So James Baldwin didn't have a lot of hope for white people ever getting it. And I must say, he's not wrong, bar some exceptions. Work has been done, but it's not complete work, and a lot of that work is being destroyed and unraveled and turned around. We're going backwards. James Baldwin calls on the strengths of his people's survival, an ability to endure the most horrific, brutal, and dehumanizing conditions over generations. Today, we call that multi-generational trauma. And there is so much pain still to be redeemed. As Unitarian Universalists, we are called to be part of the solution, especially in this time of renewed and often gleeful mass dehumanization, of escalating economic and other inequalities, marked by loudness and chest thumping from supposed strongman saviors who are playing the same old games, those same old time-tested games of divide to dominate, and succeeding. We, as Unitarian Universalists, are called to be part of the solution, and part of that solution is resistance. May we have the courage to bring about the extraordinary social transformation that Dr. King, Malcolm X, and James Baldwin called for in the past, that is still absolutely, absolutely necessary today. On this Martin Luther King Jr. weekend, at the very time when Dr. King's dream of freedom and equality for all seems so profoundly out of reach, we must recommit to it. Our nation, our world, and our children are depending on it. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. All right. Well, folks, it's been quite a week. It's been quite a week in the news. It's been quite a week of losses of our dear Ken Flanagan. And also this week, Unitarian Universalism lost a truly special minister, the Reverend Meg Barnhouse. She served our congregation in Spartanburg, our neighbors, and this congregation for a time. Meg was a great minister, preacher, counselor, singer, songwriter, and author. And mostly, I think we all loved her because she could be all of those amazing things, what I call the total UU rock star package. Yet, she was the most real, down-to-earth person. She treated everyone like they were special, including a brand new baby minister called to the middle of nowhere in Corpus Christi, Texas, where I got to know her as a close colleague, as well as her wife, Kaya. I was fortunate to have gotten to know Meg, who came to visit me and stayed at my house. She and her wife, Kaya, stayed at my house in Corpus Christi, Texas, while Kaya was in seminary and serving as a guest preacher in Corpus. And they listened to all of my first few months of ministry, young baby minister concerns with such great patience. Well, she was kind of on her weekend off. But their treatment of me was really important at that period of time in my life, feeling a little bit alone and isolated in this brand new vocation. And at her wife Kaya's ordination that I had the honor of attending, I got to tell Meg that I would be the next minister at Goof. And her response was to immediately put her hand up for a high five. I take that not as just an endorsement of me, but of you all as well. It's a pretty important one. So after the service, there is a table in the fellowship hall if you would like to write a condolence to Meg's family or any other condolences you would like to write today. So, as a tribute to Meg, we're going to play her most well-known song, which has already been mentioned, in her own voice. It's her take on the song we actually sang last week, All Shall Be Well. Meg's version, All Will Be Well, is written as a dialogue between a person concerned about the state of the world with Julian of Norwich, who was a medieval mystic woman who lived in isolation. So here it is. We love you, Meg.
I said, Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand, and Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand. She said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. I said, Julian, do you not know about sorrow? And Julian, do you not know about pain? And I said, Julian, do you not know about hunger? And Julian, do you not know about shame? But she said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. I said, Julian, do you not know about loneliness? And Julian, do you not know about disease? And I said, Julian, do you not know about cruelty? I said, Julian, it's too much, it brought me to my knees. But she said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. She said, no one does not know about loneliness, and no one does not know about disease. And she said, no one does not know about cruelty. She said, I know, it's too much, it brought me to my knees, where I heard, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. I said, Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand, and Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand. She said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And she said, baby girl, do you not know about tenderness? She said, baby girl, do you not know about friends? And she said, baby girl, do you you not know about the spirit? She said, baby girl, do you not know it's only love that never ends? And so all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And so all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well.
That was beautiful, I think, so beautiful. Thank you. Please join me by saying the words on the screen as we extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Our closing words are from Amanda Gorman's The Hill We Climb. We will rise from the gold-limbed hills of the west. We will rise from the wind-swept northeast, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. We will rise from the sun-baked south. We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover. And every known nook of our nation and every corner called our country, our people diverse and beautiful will emerge, battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it, for there is always light. If only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to be it. Dear ones, all will be well. All will be well. All manner of things will be well. Blessed be.